How do you make life suck less? You need a purpose and a goal. I have loving pets, and I dress and look however I want in my free time. Life sucks, but you can customize your avatar and upgrade skill levels. If you are bored, you can close your eyes and rotate a cow in your mind. It's free and the cops can't stop you. I've been making mead, be outside more. Even if it's not your thing, have something to look forward to. Romanticize everything you do. Surround yourself with positive people, pursue your passions, and focus on what you can control. Cats. We aren't here for long. Enjoy the smaller things in life, the sun, the rain, the grass, fresh air, dogs in the park. Going for you appreciate the smallest things, the bigger things are just a bonus. Being happy is a lot easier than being sad. Whenever I'm having a bad day I say to myself I could continue being like this or just be happy. Music saved me. How often do you get your hair cut? What's the longest time you've gone between haircuts? Never. I have cancer. 5 weeks usually. About every 3-4 years? I let it grow pretty long. Once I'm noticing how often I'm getting tangled in things or how annoying it is to maintain, I'll go get a pixie cut and start the cycle over. 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know the longest time. I don't pay much attention to how often I cut it. I cut it whenever I get really frustrated with it. That time is coming pretty soon. It's been 5 years since I had my hair cut. Haven't cut my pubes since my first nut hair. I usually get my hair cut every 6.8 weeks depending on how fast it grows and what style I choose. The whole pandemic. Once a month, give or take a couple of days. Grew my hair out for 2 years once. It was fun. What are some tasty, filling bang for your buck meals you guys know of for broke college guys? 1. Buy a crock-pot. 2. Google crock-pot recipes. 3. Make loaded potato soup. 4. Thrive, chili, beans and rice. Complete protein and relatively cheap. Curry. You can get a package of curry mix powder for like $5, a giant bag of rice for $10, and some carrots and potatoes for a few dollars more. You can make a ton of food this way for like $20, meat optional. Instant noodles, fried egg, chicken and dumplings southern style. I make my stock with bouillon cubes and use frozen leg quarters. I could easily feed 5 people for $10. Mac cheese and hot dogs, like a 10-year-old. What are the foods you hated as a child? Hated broccoli as a kid, but now it's like my green, tree-shaped best friend. Childhood me would be so disappointed in my adult taste buds. Olives. Still can't stand them. Fried onions, my mom always put them in the soup and I always caught every bite. Crumbed lamb's brain. Just thinking about it makes me wanna puke, vomiting face. Lasagna. Refused to touch it because it looked gross. Then on a school camp there was nothing to eat except lasagna, so I tried it and realized I was a fucking moron. Used to hate mustard, now I really like it. Cooked carrots absolutely grated on me. I love my granddad very much, but we have major beef over cooked carrots. Raw is absolutely fine and I love them, but if you cook them I will be genuinely trying not to throw up. An eggplant dish my mom made. Apparently it's healthy, but it's so slimy and weird that it makes me gag. What do you think about a person who always travels solo? The person is spontaneous and they adapt well to random situations. Traveling with others can be annoying when everyone has a different opinion on what to do. I have a couple friends who travel all the time, alone. They do it because they have the freedom and money to do so that most of their friends do not. They both have lots of friends and encourage friends to join them for all or parts of trips. How do I feel about it? Jealous AF. I'm traveling alone. I want to be able to leave when I want, where I want, and once I'm there do what I want without depending on someone else's choices and desires. I'm single, so I'm enjoying myself. What improved your quality of life so much, you wish you did it sooner? Sleep, which I didn't do tonight. Ignoring the opinions of people on social media. Getting into a regular exercise routine. Discovering that I can mute annoying people on social media. Quality of life went from 0 to 100 real quick. My divorce lol. LASIK, quit drinking. Added alcohol. Getting a good night's sleep consistently. Stopped watching TV news. DMT, a bidet. I have IBS and a few other digestive issues. Still, it took me 20 years of adulthood to even try a bidet and now I can't imagine living without it. Got a sensible so. Quitting nicotine. Cutting Instagram and television completely. What is the scariest paranormal activity you experienced? Not so much paranormal, but hallucinations when half asleep. Can be very creepy. When my left Calvin and Hobbes themed sock re-emerged from oblivion after 11 years. I know some people that leaking blood every month and they still alive. When I heard creepy whispers in the middle of the night. I saw cats on Broadway. I'm not sure what was going on, so it was definitely outside of normal. People seemed to love it, though. I absolutely had an out-of-body experience. I was very young. We had just moved into an older home. I heard a few people in the kitchen doing normal things as in they were making a meal, removing dishes from the cupboards and doing dishes at some point in the night. I moved from my bed to my parents' for safety. I do remember going to the kitchen with one of my parents and it was empty. What is your all-time favorite scent? Blooming jasmine flowers, freshly mowed grass, freshly baked cookies, vanilla, charcoal, fresh clean laundry, lavender. It's called amber oil. It's sweet and a touch musky. I have a vial of it next to me that I'd take hits off now and then. Rain. ESP right before a storm. Wood smoke. Hoppus 9 bore not even in a look at me I'm so badass I like the smell of a gun cleaner sort of way. The stuff genuinely smells great. They should make a cologne. Campfire. Coffee. Puppy breath. When you bust open the vacuum seal on a fire pound. Memorizing every time. Bacon. Earth. Wet earth from the first rain. Sandalwood. Anything with it I'm gonna buy. Candles. Shower gel. Even found a sandalwood scented dish soap once. I was excited to hand wash dishes. Vanilla. Paca Ruban Sport Pour Homme. What is your mother tongue? How did you learn English, and why? Spanish is my mother tongue, but I had to learn English to start kindergarten. So one day, everyone around me stopped speaking Spanish, and I had no choice but to learn English. Over the course of one summer, I was nearly fluent, but it took me years to speak English with any real confidence. Danish. English is mandatory for most schools from 4th grade, might be even earlier now, and through gymnasium high school. College-ish, plus a lot of universities will have teachers or materials in movies and the cinemas is available in original language, and we don't have a dubbing culture except for children's TV, so we see a lot of things in that it is very practical to know English to some extent. I grew up speaking French, then I became deaf and learned LSQ like ASL, then I learned English because all the cool sciencey things are mostly in English. What stereotype in movies are you absolutely sick of? All the people getting knocked unconscious and then waking up hours later, and just walking that shit off. My friend slipped on ice and banged his head. He was out for a good while, and definitely didn't walk that shit off. Women always have perfect makeup and professional great hairstyling even when they wake up first thing in the morning, rolling eyes face. Man and woman meet. They hate each other from the pit of their very beings. Movie progresses to show a man and or woman doing nice things that the other one notices. The softening of the hearts begins and ends with them falling into each other's arms and declaring their old man lives in a neighbor. The neighbors wear him down with their kindness. He eventually turns into a squishy teddy bear of a human that everyone loves. Going to investigate a noise down in the basement. That crap can wait until the morning. Seriously, put a lock from the outside. What's a scary thing that happened to you? I used to work in a coal mine and the roof came down on us once. No one was hurt. It cracked before it dropped and we got out in time. Still a shit day out though. Watched both my sons lose their minds to mental illnesses. I once went camping, and in the middle of the night, I heard this ungodly noise. Picture a mix of a chainsaw and a banshee. Turns out, it was just a raccoon arguing with a trash can. But for a good 10 seconds, I was mentally drafting my apology to Bigfoot for doubting his existence. Lesson learned: nature can be scarier than any horror movie soundtrack. Camping, raccoon, high volume. I got to a point in my illness where I was so isolated and so physically weak that I thought there would soon come a point where I would not be able to get out of bed and would die before anyone found me. I got pinned under a rock in a river for about a minute. Rivers are dangerous. What's the most surprising thing you learned from getting divorced? The person you married is not the same person you divorce. How I did need to change certain parts of myself and my life, but I was not the entire problem in our marriage. I expected to be heartbroken but mostly just felt relieved. You can almost die from grief and disappointment. How content I could be on my own. Never having to compromise throughout the mundane moments because you are living alone is very freeing. One of the most surprising lessons from my divorce was discovering the importance of self-reflection and personal growth. It's amazing how challenges can be catalysts for positive change and a deeper understanding of oneself. Lawyers are expensive. I always thought my older girls would one day resent me for getting divorced from their dad. 20 years plus later they told me it was one of the best things I ever did for myself and for them. Probably how strong I actually am. What's your favorite drink to order at the bar? Old fashioned. It took me years to try one, and it's so good that I rarely drink anything else. I love me a good. While I was living in Ottawa I tried an aviation cocktail and I would order it at every bar if one of the ingredients wasn't impossible to get. White Russian, dirty martini, a Bloody Mary on a Sunday morning. Gin and tonic is hard to get wrong. Mojito, but since I learned how to make a good one, my purse is not suffering so much anymore. Amaretto sour, a Shirley Temple. Black Russian, gimme a beer. Surprise me, dark and stormy. 3 ingredients, super tasty. Negroni, hence the account. Margarita, Maker's Mark old fashioned with extra bitters. It's not the best bourbon in the world, but I like it and it's everywhere. Who were the most dangerous idiots to ever live? Thomas Austin. He wanted to shoot rabbits on his property in Victoria, so brought 13 of them over in 1859 from England, and he didn't quite get them all, so now we have about 200 million of the bastards here. They literally outnumber us Terry's about 8 rabbits for each person in Australia. The dude who went to a remote island to convert the tribals to Christianity. People who drive and text at the same time. Stalin and Mao. They killed more of their own people than their enemies did. And that was a lot of people. Like 20 million plus in each case, before you even start counting. I'm surprised Thomas Midgley hasn't been mentioned yet. He's at fault for CFCs and leaded gasoline. He single-handedly almost destroyed the planet and caused millions of people to be exposed to unsafe levels of lead.